let's talk about all sufficient merit. I'm playing with click at 146 here. And we have this super interesting line, right? It's in 6/8, which typically you're going to feel in 2 beats, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All sufficient. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Even the chord changes are falling on this. Boom, boom, boom. It's like a pendulum swing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But in the intro, we have what we might call a polyrhythm, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, right? So let me try to explain what's happening here unfortunately, without like a whiteboard to draw it out. So we have 1, 2, 3, and then we have 4, 5, 6. But instead of having three notes, this rhythm has 2 evenly spaced notes that take up these 3 beats, and then 2 evenly spaced notes that take up these 3 beats. So it sounds like you're playing in 4 almost within a 6/8, which is very odd, but it's really cool. So the easiest way to figure this out and to play it correctly is to subdivide. You always have to subdivide. So instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you would want to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and. The key with subdividing is that you have to be precise. You can't 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, right? That's gonna swing it, which we don't want. You have to be nailed on 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and. So to evenly space, right? Instead of having 1, 2, 3, we have 1 and 2 and 3 and, or this way, whatever. This is ridiculous to look at, right? But now instead of having 3 that we have to split in half, with the subdivisions, we now have 6 semi-beats, if you will. I don't know what else to call them. 6, right, subdivided beats that we can split in half. So we need 1 and 2 and 3 and, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1. And then we want to accent those. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and. So if you sit there and you count out loud, which I encourage you to do, subdivide it and accent the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and. If you can accent those, then the strumming you have. Now, we need to learn this line, which we can learn, right? So, four, five, six, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have right, a G over B. So mute, index, mute, open, ring, pinky. So this is our first shape, and then the next note, we take our pinky off and middle finger down. And then the next one we have open. We actually want this note to sound, right? So pinky, middle, mute, and then open, and we're going to a C. So mute, middle, mute, open, ring, open. And then we need to mute the E string. And then we mute the E string and take our ring finger off. We want the open B string to sound. And then we shift to this D shape, right? Mute, ring, mute, open, open, and then you can play this or mute it. And then our final one is filling out that chord. So ring, pinky, middle, open, index. So let me play that. I'll slow this down. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Play that again. So there it is. That's the intro. And at tempo, it sounds like this. Sorry, hold on, let me fix this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let me walk you through the shapes I'm playing here. So we have an E minor, none of the extras down here, right? Just open. But I am not playing the high B and E string. I don't want those strings to sound. So part of the reason I don't put my fingers down is because I'm reminding myself, hey, I'm not playing down there, so don't play those strings. And then we go to a D, this big beefy D, that I showed you already, and then walk down to a big ol' beefy C. So same shape, slide it down. And then we have a C, or sorry, a G over B. And because I'm typically playing individual strings, right? This arpeggiation sort of deal, I tend to leave off some of the correct ways of playing the chord, right? I know I'm not going to play on the B string and the E string, so I don't bother putting my fingers down there because it's just extra work, right? So all right, so this is the C. I'm just not putting my index finger down because I'm not playing there. So this is, again, that D shape. Some of this stuff is just a lot of added and extra. I would encourage you to, if you're like, man, I really want to figure that out. If I don't explain it, take the tempo of the video and just slow it down and zoom in as best you can and try to figure it out. And if you put that effort in and energy in, chances are you'll be able to learn it quite well. So it's just, I'm doing an arpeggiation. This is a hammer-on. 1 and 2 and 3 and. If you're going to do that hammer-on, the hammer-on has to be in time, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 1 and 2 and 3 I love playing this little line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and. So I'm playing a G, right? Mute, or sorry, ring, mute, open, open, open. Definitely the B string has to be open because we're gonna emphasize this note by moving away from it. So open and then pinky, and then hammer on, index finger down on the B string. Again in time. 1, 2, da 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 da. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and we're emphasizing the suspension and then the resolution. My righteousness I forfeit at my Savior's cross, where all sufficient merit what I, and then we have the turn. Okay, you know that, you've already played it. And then the chorus. So we get to the chorus. It is done, it is finished. And then we have a B minor 7, right? So if you technically, this is a B minor, right? So mute, index, it's a bar chord, so you gotta squeeze the neck to death. Index, ring, pinky, middle, and then your barred first index finger. So this is a B minor chord. If you want a B minor 7, you take your pinky off. So mute, bar, ring, bar, index or middle, bar. Right, this is it's a flavor, right? So a B minor chord, all chords are going to typically have a 1, 3, and a 5 scale degree. And then a suspension would be taking that 3 and replacing it with a 4. 1, 4, 5, and that 4 wants to move back down to a 3. So a 7 chord basically adds a note on top. So 1, 3, 5, 7, right? These are thirds, thirds. So if you play this and somebody else plays the 7 is there. It's not really a different chord. Maybe it's like a different timbre of the same chord. So you can play it like this, you can play the 7. I tend to play the 7. Sometimes I'll play a cheat B minor 7, which eliminates a lot of strings, and if you're by yourself, it probably doesn't sound that great, especially in the key of G, if you're playing G shapes. But it's a mute, B, mute, middle, ring, mute. So if you're looking at this, right, what note am I missing? Well, I'm missing the high here, but I'm also missing this note. So this, I mean, if you wanted, you could play B minor 7 like this. I would never do that because that's pretty tough. But, you know, if you like this and you can practice that shape and it feels comfortable for you, go ahead, do it. I just find that I'm going from an E minor to a B minor. So I make sure that my index finger is on the A string. That's my anchor finger, right? E minor, and then all I'm doing is sliding it a little bit, rocking my finger down to the strings, and then as soon as my index finger is in this position, I know where my middle finger and my ring finger go because I've played this B minor chord 100 times and I've practiced this transition. I know what this feels like, right? And that's what you have to do. When you're learning a new chord, it's not just that chord. You have to get to the chord and you have to leave the chord. So, right, if I'm practicing a B minor, and I want to learn a B minor chord, well, I can sit here and practice a B minor chord all day. I can take my fingers away and put it back up. That's great. But what am I practicing? Well, I'm practicing going from nothing to the B minor chord, nothing, B minor chord. But I need it in between an E minor, right? It is done, it is finished, and a C. So I need E minor, B minor, 7, C. So this is a jump. There's nothing to do to avoid that. So you just got to practice it. And that's about it. This song, I would say the trickiest part of this song is the intro and the turn and that B minor chord. Everything else, everything I'm doing is just gravy, right? You would still need that rhythm, I would say, or you should emphasize that rhythm in your guitar playing, even if you're not playing the lead line, right? Which would sound like this. All sufficient and shining lights, fortune iron, right? Okay, so you still need that rhythm. You have to practice that rhythm for your guitar playing. And then the other thing is the B minor. Other than that, everything else is just extra. And if you want to push yourself and grow as a guitar player, one of the things that helped me a lot was, I started and I had a pianist, and that pianist could play all of the melody lines and the lead lines. And so I started just, as any guitar player does. What are you doing? You're just strumming, playing chords. Well, I actually lost that piano player. They graduated, and so I didn't have that piano to help me play these lead lines. And I'm sure many of you have been in a situation where, a guitar player is leading and you have no idea what song is being sung, right? They start the intro and you're like, I don't know what they're playing. They're literally just drumming. There's no melodic cue as to what we are about to sing. And then the lyrics jump onto the screen and you're like, oh, we're singing this song. And you're learning as you go, right? Well, I want to try to avoid that. I want everybody in the church to know exactly what we're singing, whether we have a pianist playing a lead line or if it's just acoustic. So push yourself. What is that lead line, and can I play it while I'm playing my own accompaniment on guitar, right? So just use your ears. Right, what is that line? Can it fit within the chord shape or some area of the chord shape that I can just manipulate and move and adjust? And what strings do I need to mute in order to make the notes that I want to sound actually be heard? And I think if you spend some time, is it easy? Not at all. But if you spend some time working on that and learning how to play some of these lead lines and little embellishments, I think it will take your guitar playing from okay to exceptional, right? You can work and be good at these types of things, but you have to be 100% on in your rhythm, right? You can't sacrifice your rhythm in order to try and play some melodic line. And then two, you have to be confident, right? If there's something that I think is really cool and I want to utilize it in a service, not to be, showy, but if it would be useful for the congregation in leading them to sing, I want to make sure that I'm extremely confident that I'm going to be able to nail it, right? I don't want to spend my energy thinking about, oh, I have this little lick coming up, or I have this really tricky part that I'm now distracted because what I'm thinking about is that. As a guitar player, I want to be so confident on my instrument that my mind is not thinking about the guitar. My mind is thinking about the lyrics, the melody, engaging with the congregation. So practice your instrument, not so that you can be showy and prideful, but so that this can be in the background, and what's important can be in the foreground. I often think about multitasking, right? There are very few people, and by few I mean less than 1%, probably less than 0.1% on our planet that are actually truly good at multitasking, at working, as the mind working on two things simultaneously. We cannot. Computers can, our minds cannot. Something else is going to be automated. So when you're thinking about leading the congregation from an instrument, you are making a decision. Am I automating my singing, or am I automating my guitar playing? And I hope that you grow in your confidence and skill in your instrument, whether it's piano, drums, guitar, electric, whatever it is. Grow in your skills so that your instrument can be what's being automated in the background, so that your mind can focus on the lyrics, the singing, and engaging your church. So a little bit about all sufficient merit and a lot of bit about practicing, but I hope this was helpful.